Welcome back to Feedback Loop, everybody. I'm Joey,
And I'm Jeremy.
and this week we are discussing Igor by Tyler, the Creator.
That we are. Joey chose this album. Why did you choose this album?
I chose this album because it's really good, man. Like that's why. No, but for real, it's because
No, but for real, it's really good.
it really is. But the reason I chose it is because our last album, the one by Lord,
Yep,
it just seemed like,
melodrama.
yeah, melodrama. I wanted to say diorama or something. I don't know.
It's fine.
I thought it started with a D, but
It doesn't.
so I chose this one because it's kind of poppy. It won a Grammy.
Oh, did it?
So, I mean, it seemed like the next logical step, given that Lord is pretty big in the pop sphere.
Yeah, and I
And
think thematically it fits too.
yeah, plus, like, I don't know, kind of to go bigger picture, Lord, it seemed like that was a deviance from her first album, Melodrama
Yeah,
was.
sure.
And Igor is definitely a deviance from Tyler, the Creator's previous works.
I
So,
think I can agree with that. Not that I'd heard. I don't have a lot of context for Tyler the Creator. I think I mentioned this last week. I heard snippets of songs or maybe a full song, and I just couldn't get into them
yeah.
back in the day. So, but that's not the case with this album. I think it's good, but we'll get to that. Before we do, the album art.
Yeah. Okay. So it's pretty simple because Igor is a character. So Igor is who you see when you look at the album artwork. It's just a flat pink background with what looks to be just a black and white image of him, but
Yeah,
his skin is like extremely dark. Now, I mean,
super dark.
like,
Is he wearing a black T-shirt or is he wearing? It looks like he's wearing a shirt.
I think he's wearing like a suit vest,
Oh well, there you go.
I guess, because the
You
only
can't
reason
really see
the only reason I
his
say that
torso.
is because I've seen a lot of the pictures of Igor, the character. He's wearing a pink suit vest,
Oh, I
so
see.
that's
Interesting.
kind of why I think he's stylized with like the bleach blonde hair and the pink
Yeah,
suit. But
cool.
yeah, and then at the bottom it just says all songs were, I think it says produced and created by Tyler, the Creator.
And they were, and some assistance from other people here and there.
Yeah, and that's something I'm gonna get it. Okay, I'll get into it whenever the songs show up.
All right, let's get right to it.
Yeah, okay, so first track, Igor's theme. I mean, title guy, Igor, name of the album,
Igor.
name of the person that he's being. So it's kind of a theme for him. It's starts off pretty, I don't know, it's a pretty bumping track, I guess I
Yeah,
think.
it's got some like deep synths, and
Hmm.
it has these drums, and man, I am in love with the drums on this track. It's got like a very old school feel to it, like a funky beat, and it
Yeah.
sounds clean, and it's just it's good.
See, it's stuff like that that kind of made me not want to classify it as a rap album. I kind of felt
Right.
bad about saying, "Oh, well, it's not quite rap." But I mean,
I
like,
mean,
there's rap, but
yeah,
it's definitely got a funk to it that I think is pretty nice. And
yeah.
it's from my research, the whole point of this song, because this whole album's a narrative about this person named Igor.
Do you think Igor is? I'm just gonna ask this immediately. Maybe I should save it to the end, but I'm gonna cut to it. Fuck it. Do you think Igor is a portion of himself or a projection of himself?
I
Or
think
do you
it
think it's
is.
totally disconnected?
I think it's at least partially a reflection of Tyler, like a part of his personality, at least.
Has
And
he done character stuff like this before?
not really. I mean, like, he's written songs from the perspective of another person before, but never just gone and created a whole album that is a whole narrative of a person going through something like a
Interesting.
different person. But I
Cool.
think it's a portion of himself. And this song, in my research, because there's not too many lyrics. It's like I said, it's a track that's like pretty bumping.
Yeah,
I don't
it's an
know,
intro track.
but like I
It's
looked,
his theme song.
yeah, and I looked it up, and from what I can tell, what Tyler wanted was for you to turn this track on, and the main lyrics are like riding around town, gonna feel this one. He wants you because he says he likes driving, or some people like driving, some people like walking, and he said this in, I think it was an interview, and he said, I want people to listen to this, know that they're going to feel it, and know that they need to be doing something that they enjoy while they're listening, like experiencing this album. So from the
I feel
perspective,
it.
yeah, like
The
from the
first time I heard this album, I put this album on when I was driving, so I think it felt good to drive to it for sure.
yeah, I played games to it my first time I listened to it all the way through. I think I was playing Skyrim, and it was
Not a
nice.
sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Skyrim's
So,
everywhere. Not a
sorry.
sponsor. No, it's good. Skyrim's a great game. I think everyone should play it. But they're not a sponsor.
Buy it
Just
on
to be
every
clear.
console.
No, it's too far. Cross the line. Anyways, next track, Earthquake.
Earthquake.
With an F, not a TH, even though he says earthquake, it sounds like.
Yeah, he says that in the
So,
song, but it's fine.
is there a reason he uses earth, or is it was I don't know if there was something deeper there.
I'm not 100% sure, and honestly, I don't think I would be the person to ask. The only thing I can think of is like, he, this goes into some deeper lore, but
Give
and
me the
it's
deep
probably not
lore.
even right.
Pull
Like,
out the old texts.
so Tyler the Creator, whenever he accepted his Grammy, for this album, he criticized it because what they do at the Grammys is it seems like they put black artists into the urban category instead of
Right.
contending them with the rest of the music, and he's against, like, obviously he's against that.
Yeah.
He made an album that is amazing regardless of whatever, but they still put him in the urban category. They put him in you can't contend with the regular category. You have to go in the
Right.
specific urban category.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I have a lot of issues with the Grammys in general.
yeah,
So
yeah, definitely
I,
the pay to win type awards or whatever. But because this is like the poppy song, I guess, off of the album,
yeah.
and for this song, which is the single off of the album, to be in what you could consider like a stereotypically urban speak, I think maybe he's commenting on that. But that's just me kind of reading into it. I don't know if that's
Sure.
actually what it is, or
I think it's valid.
if I'm just being stupid over here. I don't know.
No, it was a good, it was a worthwhile endeavor to kind of stray off and dive into that. I think, but the song, it's pleasant enough musically. I think it's got a lot of synths. There's a lot of synth in this album.
Yeah,
Synths in this album. I got to break it down. But the vocal melody in the chorus is nice. It's a pretty like you said. It's kind of a lead single, kind of poppy song. But it's a breakup song, and this album is kind of a breakup album, similar to Melodrama, which we just went over. The chorus is don't he's like I don't remember. I think he has a featured artist singing with him,
he
but
does.
he says, "Don't leave. It's my fault." Which is specifically in that chorus, it kind of gives me like a Kid Cudi vibe, and I got
Yeah,
a few of those Kid Cudi vibes throughout this album, but that was one of the more prominent ones because he does a lot of stuff that sounds similar. I think to this chorus.
definitely. With, I don't know, the big kind of chorusy type vocals where it's like they're really belting it
Right.
in the chorus. I like it a lot. And I don't know who the featured singer is, but there is a featured artist, which even leans more into the whole pop aspect because it's Playboy Cardi, which
Oh yeah.
I've never
Me either.
heard a song by him,
Yeah,
which
me either.
shows how out of touch I am. Like, because I'm pretty sure he's a big artist. I
Yeah,
don't
I've heard
know.
the name. I think.
He's big enough that I know who he is, and I don't listen to the radio. But
Yeah.
it's
This was not our area of expertise, like mainstream hip hop,
definitely.
especially nowadays, like super modern mainstream hip hop. That's not something that we're into
So
generally.
forgive us, please.
Yeah.
But so yeah, this, like you said, it's definitely a breakup song, and fitting with the whole, just the first song being a theme song and not necessarily fitting into a narrative. This, I kind of consider this the first narrative track, which it starts
Right.
off with a breakup, I guess.
Yeah,
And
this whole album, it kind of has like not really a sitcom, but like it's got that it kind of harkens back to like the style of an old sitcom, I guess, with kind of the funkier music from a time that maybe isn't now.
yeah,
And so there's a theme song, and then it kind of gets into the narrative of the episode or whatever. And this whole kind of album feels like it's just progressing through an episode.
I like that take. I really do. Because it especially, I don't know if it's what he was imagining, but it works because the music video for Earthquake, it's kind of, he's on like a stage and it looks almost like it's set in the 70s or 80s or something.
Yeah,
So, and that's the time of the sitcom. I like it.
yeah. I haven't
It's,
I haven't seen any of his music videos. Maybe I should have before this, but too late. We're here.
yeah,
I will say the end of the song, it just kind of it cuts. It cuts straight into the next track.
yeah. It right into I think, and it's, I like how it does that because it kind of signifies, okay, well, this is the descent, because
Right.
it seems like this album shows a breakup and then a descent kind of into dealing with that breakup, maybe not healthily in a
Yeah,
way.
but in a very human way.
Yeah, in a very human way. So this kind of breaks from the breakup. Even though it's a breakup, it's still technically a part of this upbeat, poppy, whatever relationship that he was in. And then it
Right.
cuts right into the. And it's weird that the next song is, I think, in the chorus kind of goes, I think I'm falling in love. This time I think it's for real after the
Yeah.
breakup. It kind
So
of.
I thought that was interesting. I think it's a callback to Earthquake because at the beginning of Earthquake, he starts by saying "for real this time." He's going
Yeah.
for real this time, and then he gets his heart broken, right? And then he's going back. It seems like maybe he's found a new love, perhaps, or maybe he's found the same love again. And he's like, no, really, guys, for real this time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I get. I get like he's reimagining the love that he felt, or like falling into almost an obsession type love, like a different type of love, but
Right.
he's re-falling into it, whatever it is. It's,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know, like I like the music a lot on this because it starts off with that, you talked about the drums in Igor's theme. I like the drums that start off this one, kind of sounds jungly almost.
Yeah, it's got some like groovy like tom work going on.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
it's
and
got some snaps and stuff, and I like it as well.
yeah. Speaking of like random guest people, Solange. I don't know if you know who that is. I know.
I've heard the name, but
Yeah.
I'm woefully inept with this genre. So
So she's the female vocalist on this, and
right,
like I'm gonna be speaking about all these popular musicians who I don't listen to, and I mean in before. Oh, he's just a hipster who doesn't listen to
that
whatever. Like
is kind of true.
it is 100% true. I mean, I fit the definition of a hipster. I don't know who any of these people are, but I know they're
Yeah,
big.
go back and listen to I think it was our third episode of Feedback Loop where we did Nana Grizzle.
Mhm.
That's Joey right there.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. But it's what I what I'm trying to get at with like all of these big named artists guest appearances. It is nowhere. People had to do a ton of research online to figure out who these guests were, who
Oh
these
really?
features were. He didn't say anything about them on the album. He has not confirmed or denied anybody that said like this is still technically speculation.
Oh really?
Yeah, like because he hasn't, like, not nowhere in the liners of the album, nowhere in like interviews online has he
Huh.
confirmed anything. So it's,
Interesting.
yeah, he just has a bunch of seemingly big artists that just agreed to be on his album and not get any credit for it. Not that you need credit to do music, but like
Right.
it's just kind of crazy how he worked that in there.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. I mean, especially in hip hop, like there's a big draw around having featured artists on hip hop tracks.
Yeah.
I think maybe more so than in any other genre, but it doesn't happen often in hip hop specifically that someone gets a credit like that, especially someone so well known. like
Yeah.
Playboy Cardi or Solange, and it to not only not mention them in the track title as a feature, but if it's not anywhere in the liner notes and there's nowhere that it's explicitly confirmed, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's interesting.
it kind of blew my mind when I figured that out because there were a few other songs on the album where it's like I know this is this person,
Yep,
but
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
At
but
least
I was
one.
I was like, but it doesn't say anywhere. Like, and I found
Right.
Reddit threads where it's like, is this person or is who's on this track? But
Yeah. For a minute I actually thought that like in the previous track that it was Kid Cudi kind of saying it, but looking, I think it was on Wikipedia that I looked up the credits for. It was not Kid Cudi, unfortunately. I'm a
yeah,
big fan of Kid Cudi, but
me too.
yeah. So the next track, not that I think isn't interesting.
Yeah,
I think we spent maybe a bit too much time on. I think, but yeah, it's fine. I think we're going to be spending a lot of time on all these tracks because it's good and
yeah,
it's fun to dissect this stuff. But
very
the
fun.
next track is an interlude, exactly what you run from, you end up chasing,
And
which is literally what is said in the track. It's a 14-second track.
yeah,
It's just kind of like an audio sample that, in my opinion, it kind of seems like the old like paradigm. If you love them, let them go, but from the
mhm.
perspective of the person leaving, perhaps.
Yes, definitely. And that because the person who says this is a comedian named Jared Carmichael. And
Yes.
he kind of ends up being the narrator throughout this album, kind of like in a sitcom where it's like, oh, but this is happening
Yeah.
over here. This is and like you hit the nail on the head in my opinion because that's what I get from this because Igor is the person being broken up with, so
Yeah.
this is from his perspective.
Yeah, and I didn't. I'm not some genius. I didn't make the sitcom connection until we started recording, and it just kind of came out. But I think more and more I'm saying that it does make sense
Yeah,
that maybe he did kind of intend it to be framed in such a way. But yeah, it's a quick interlude track, intermission, kind of leading to the next portion of the album, uh, to kind of give more insight on, I guess, what Igor is feeling at the moment.
yeah, it leads directly into Running Out of Time, which is the next song. And this is where, because Igor, being a separate character, he gets his own voice on this
Yeah.
album because you can clearly and distinctly hear where Tyler is modulating his voice to be
Yes.
Igor, and then kind of when he raps, it's it's just Tyler's voice. So this
Yeah.
song starts off with Igor's voice, and I really like it. I just like the choppiness of it. I like it kind of puts a little bit of texture in it. It's kind of crushed or something.
Yeah, and as someone who, as I previously mentioned, doesn't like Tyler the Creator's older stuff, I think a lot of that is because, again, I'm picky with vocals, and I don't think I like his natural rapping voice. So
Hmm.
I think this album is a good recommendation for someone who's like me and didn't really get into that stuff because it has a lot of his vocals that are pitched up and modulated and altered and stuff, that kind of feels good. So you can get to experience what Tyler the Creator does without having to necessarily bear his voice if you're not into that kind of thing, or his rapping style. There is some of that on this album, but most of the time it's not that.
Yeah. I, for one, just to put this out there, I like Tyler the Creator's actual voice. I've
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that.
yeah. I'm trying to find the people out there who are like me. But
Yeah, just
so running out of time. I mean, it's to me it seems pretty self-explanatory. He's talking about he's losing this person who he
right.
is in love with. He's running out of time to get them back, and because of another person, he feels like he's losing them specifically to another person.
Right. And this is where I guess there's an underarching theme with Tyler himself being potentially homosexual or bisexual or
Hmm.
not straight that I saw some discussion about. He mentions the person hiding behind like a mask
Hmm.
and maybe pretending not to reciprocate love to Tyler. But it's like you said, he's running out of time, and Tyler's going to give up at some point, or he's going to lose him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of that is true. I know it's a lot of speculation, but it kind of comes through in some of these songs that he may or may not be talking about a guy, because he mentions the object of his love has a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So it could be that he's in love with a girl that is bisexual and loves another girl, but I think it's a safer assumption that it's a guy, just
Yeah.
statistically.
And kind of given some of the stuff that Tyler has said kind of in the past few years, like he he said something that I guess for the sake of decency, I guess I won't repeat for whatever reason, but it pretty
Okay.
much, you know what, whatever. He tweet I think he either tweeted or like responded to somebody who like made homophobic remarks about him or said he was homophobic. He said, "I've been sucking white boys dicks since 2010," or something. It was something like along the lines of that. And
Yeah.
like he's been very open that he like with his sexuality, I guess, that it doesn't really matter to him. Like in
Right.
general, it shouldn't matter to anybody, according to him.
Yeah,
Which,
and I think it's a very good stance. And at that point, the fact that he's trying to bring it to the front, I can't. It kind of makes me think: is he actually homosexual or bisexual, or is he just trying to be ambiguous to kind of make it normal? Right.
yeah,
So if he's actually straight and just pretending or playing it off like he's gay, just because it should be something that is normal and accepted, kind of a thing.
yeah, that's a whole nother discussion because there's people who have argued about that. But
Right.
we'll go ahead and we'll get past it.
Yeah. So again, the song, it to me it felt like him being in love with someone, but they're in love with someone else, and they're maybe resisting or hiding their true feelings for Tyler for fear of being outed, perhaps, which I think is a theme that is covered further into the album.
Hmm.
Um, but to that end, it leads right into, thematically anyway, New Magic Wand. I think at some point in Running Out of Time, he mentions he wishes he had some spells or something that he
Yep.
could use to change the person's mind. So track 6, New Magic Wand, is kind of the darker half of that song. I think it's an extension of it, where he repeats that he needs to get her out of the picture.
Hmm.
It has kind of a lower and darker, more like anxious bass and drum kind of feel to it that maybe alludes to a sporadic mental state that he's in. And his new magic wand is an object that he is going to use to kill or threaten his interest's girlfriend. And if they still don't commit to him, they might kill them too.
Yeah,
Uh, it's a very like manic and dark, I think, uh, expression of how he felt in Running Out of Time, or at least the extension of that.
definitely. Like this song, how I mentioned in I whenever we were talking about I think, where I said it seems that he's finding obsession or love. Like
Right.
this is the song that makes me think like you're starting to see actual obsession
Yeah, that
over.
maybe it's not the healthiest outlook.
Yeah, definitely. Because yeah, it's essentially about planning to kill whoever's in your way, like whoever this other person is.
Yeah.
Like you said, it is a girl. So yeah, we can infer based off of the knowledge that we know up to now that it is either a woman who was his girlfriend who has left him for a girl, or a guy who was his boyfriend who has left him for a girl. So
Right.
it's it's very ambiguous, extremely ambiguous. But yeah,
Yeah,
this
which
song
is
is
fine.
yeah,
I mean, I again, you said that's kind of his thing, and that's something he's promoting, and I think that's great. I don't think we need to know which way it is per se.
yeah.
Uh,
This song, but yeah, it's dark. I like dark songs. So
yeah.
there's quite a few songs on this album that I just really really like. This is one of them just because of the feeling, like you said, it hits into it right away. Like it's just instantly dark. But
Yep.
it
I like it a lot.
and then it kind of turns around with "A Boy Is a Gun" because it kind of, I'm not gonna say the song's like upbeat, but it's kind of like twinkly or kind
Yeah,
of higher pitched or something. I don't know what it is, but it instantly feels like you're not about to be murdered.
Yeah, and I think "a boy is a gun" is a play apparently on "a girl is a gun" is a phrase that has been iterated upon that
Hmm.
I hadn't heard. So maybe I'm just completely out of the loop. But this track has I felt like it had a very Kanye West feel to it. Sorry,
Definitely.
John, who's gonna because I mentioned Kanye West again. But it had that connection, and then I was looking into it because it has like some layered vocals and some oldie samples in it that I would define as old Kanye feel. And interestingly, there's the sample that is used in this track by Tyler is the same song that Kanye West has sampled in the song Bound 2
Ooh.
on Yeezus, which apparently Tyler helped produce that song. So I think there's a tie-in here, and it gets a little bit deeper in the next track.
Oh.
But
Yeah. Yep.
this song has a very Kanye feel to it, so I feel like he maybe had some influence or even helped with production on this track. Uh,
Do you know? Do you happen to know which sample it is? Because
I can look up the song. I don't write it down. The
okay,
song is called Bound. I don't remember the artist.
okay, because it sounded very. It gave the song like a very Motown, I guess,
Yeah,
vibe. Whenever it's like, don't shoot me down. Like it's, I don't know. It's just nice. But a boy is a gun. This song kind of. I know it's trying to be ambiguous, but this song kind of makes me think that it's a guy that Tyler is talking about. Like it's
yeah,
a guy. It's his boyfriend who had left him for a woman.
right. Especially if the phrase "a girl is a gun" was the original phrase, and he twisted that to be "a boy is a gun." That kind of points out to me that he's clearly talking about a guy.
Yeah. And interesting note. Not actually. It's not that interesting. I don't know why I said that. I just clickbaited my own sentence.
It's
But
fine.
um, I
Gotta get them clicks.
I'm trying to figure out the way these like song titles are stylized is they're all capital, all of them.
Yes.
It's just all in capitals, which is a big thing. Either all capitals or all lowercase. That's a thing that
Yeah,
people
it
do
happens.
now. But this song and this song only is the only one that has like like a little star asterisk at the
Yeah,
end
I
of it.
was gonna ask you about that, but I don't think on Wikipedia or on the official track listing it has an asterisk. I didn't look up like the back of the CD to see,
Yeah.
but I was wondering if that was just a uh, an exclusive thing to the YouTube Music app or if it was something else.
No, it's. I mean, it is at least on Spotify as well. So I'm
Interesting.
assuming it's just the way he wanted it, which makes me think there's a reason to it, but I don't know it.
Yeah,
I was
I'm not really sure either.
I was trying to figure it out, but I can't. So if anybody out there knows, tell me. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm just curious. I
I
just want to
think
know.
just to tie it back lyrically, the song I think represents that he has an opportunity to be with his love interest despite knowing it's dangerous and
Yeah.
that it could end up hurting him, which I guess is what the phrase "a girl is a gun" means anyway. But I really liked in one of his verses, he kind of alludes to it coming back and hurting him. He says, "You invited me to breakfast. Why the fuck your ex here?"
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
really like that line because it just shows like it's like an ultimate betrayal, right? He's like, "Hey, like I'm finally gonna get on a date with this guy that I like," and I show up to talk, and his girlfriend's here or his ex is here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like instant bad news.
I feel like this song it starts kind of a not a subplot, but it like introduces because before this you're like, oh man, I think Igor's like crazy. He's super obsessive and gonna
Right.
plotting to kill. But then you listen to this song and it seems like he's being like strung along, like led on, and you're kind of
Yeah,
like, okay,
almost like he's some sort of puppet.
oh,
That segue.
segue,
Before we get on, the next track is called "Puppet," just to get that out in the air. But before we move on, I did look up the sample that I was referring to. The song is called "Bound." The artist is Ponderosa Twins plus one.
hmm,
So that's the song that they sampled both in "Bound 2" and in the song.
looks like that's who I'm listening to next.
Yeah, we'll
But
put them on our list. But yeah,
so
"Puppet"
yeah,
is the next track. It starts off musically. very similar to the rest of this album, which implies to me that Tyler himself had a heavy hand in the production of it, which is important because I feel like the song has three phases to it.
Hmm.
As the song progresses, it starts off with Tyler, and I actually like his rap flow here,
There you
which
go.
doesn't happen a lot. But about a minute in, it starts changing, and you start hearing more strings and more vocal samples, kind of similar to Kanye West's old stuff, uh,
Hmm.
which is interesting. It's not interesting. I clickbaited my own thing. I'm copying you. I just want to be cool. Kanye has a verse on this album, although I guess it's not confirmed. It's
Supposedly.
Kanye. Whatever.
Supposedly. No, I
It's
think it's
definitely
it's all
Kanye.
but confirmed by him that it's Kanye.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's actually pretty like washed out. You can't really hear it super clearly, or it's quiet and in the background, which I thought it was kind of weak. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Kanye West's lyrical content or his
Mhm.
rapping per se, but I thought it was interesting. I went to look at the official lyrics, and Tyler has posted, I guess, official lyrics for every song on this album. And for this song specifically, at that point, it says Kanye lyrics cannot be transcribed. So they don't even have official lyrics for whatever Kanye is rapping in the background, which is fine because it's whatever. It's kind of a mediocre verse to begin with. So I'm not sure if it was intentional or if Kanye was just kind of like wanting to be involved and decided to do some weird freestyle or something, because he was clearly like helping produce this album. I
Yeah,
think he has a production credit, at least on Wikipedia. But I think the song could have been fine without that verse.
yeah.
Uh,
And I mean, he they've definitely worked together, or at least I don't want to say Kanye like mentored him or anything, but like I think Kanye was involved in some of his earlier work as well. And I mean,
sure,
Tyler, like you said, he helped on produced or whatever on Bound to. Like they've
right,
collaborated in the past before, but I don't
yeah,
know.
but
You can feel his presence on this album. Definitely, you can feel Kanye's presence on this
for sure.
album.
And this song specifically, like I said, I think there's three phases in the song. So the first, third of the song or whatever feels very much Tyler produced. And then towards the middle, it gets kind of in this wishy-washy area that it sounds like it could be a Tyler and Kanye collaboration thing. And then towards the end, I felt like it was maybe more of just a Kanye production thing,
Yeah,
at least musically, because at like 2 minutes in after the Kanye verse, it switches to more like staples of Kanye's music with some more vocals, some groovy bass lines, some more strings, and then there's like a whining synth that comes in and drones over it, which kind of reminded me of like Yeezus era Kanye.
yeah.
But
I def-
lyrically,
yeah,
he's feeling like a puppet. He's feeling like he's been used by his love interest, and he's admitting that like he wants to give them whatever they need or whatever they want and wants nothing more but to make them happy. And then it ends with another sample from that comedian. I can't remember what you said his name was,
Jared
but
Carmichael.
yeah, at the
Remember his
very
name.
Jared Carmichael, repetition sinks it in. But at the end of the track, it ends with another sample from him saying, "But at some point, you come to your senses."
And see right there, because right before it, it's kind of fading out, and you start to hear a siren come in. It's like a police siren or
Yeah,
some sort of siren, and then he says, "But at some point, you come to your senses," which makes me think it's
that Igor was about to do something.
or that yeah, like he was about to do something, but maybe like it's coming to your senses to Igor, so he's doing something crazy because right into the next song, if you're done with this song, because
Yeah,
what's good stuff gets nuts. Like it is,
it
it is a fighting song. Like this is a
is.
song
It is very anxiety-inducing musically. I
you
think.
would throw down to this song, and
Yeah,
especially at some point, one of the first lyrics, which kind of ties into that siren. He's just like building himself up, all confident, and then he says, If that cop says my name, bitch, I'm Igor." Like he's just
yeah,
right there, like I'm done. I'm doing
yeah. He's
something.
ready to lay hands on someone.
And I
I
just
think
yeah, I thought it.
Musically, at this point in the album, they brought back the kind of funky upbeat drums, and
Mhm.
I love it. I'm not particularly fond of this track, but I really love the musical production of it, and the drums just feel so good to me.
Yeah, I like the drums. I like, which I don't know. While he's, because at the beginning, whenever he starts like rapping, this is like an actual just rap song, at least to start out with.
Right.
And while he's rapping, there's kind of like an off-key piano kind of happening. It like it'll
Yeah.
hit a chord while he's rapping, which kind of, like you said, anxiety inducing. You're like, what's happening? What's going on? Something crazy
Yeah.
is happening. And then
Something's off.
yeah, and then it breaks it up with this kind of. It's like the little detuned piano, easy line in between each verse, which kind of breaks
Right.
it up. And it kind of, I don't know if that's supposed to be showing that he's coming back to some sort of reality. Like he had a huge episode where he did some crazy shit, and then he's kind of coming back. But I don't know. That's just me looking maybe too far into it. But
No, yeah, absolutely. It's a very actiony track that it feels like something's happening, right? And I got another like Yeezus vibe from this because at some point in the song it gets kind of distorted. There's like some distorted vocals, and then you can hear like random yelling samples in the background, which was a big thing in Yeezus. There was just
mhm.
like a lot of random screaming and yelling that seemed like it was for no reason, kind of a thing. But yeah, it's a fight song, like you said. Uh, and it goes into the next track, Gone Gone slash Thank You,
Slash.
which I did my research, and apparently the 10th track on every Tyler album is a double track like this is.
Oh,
Uh, I was curious why this one specifically needed to be a double track and looked that up. So that's why it's two tracks, Gone Gone and Thank You, both the 10th track. I guess it's two songs, one track, but they're related. They're tied. It's not as sparse as I was alluding to, perhaps. But Gone Gone, there's something about the vocal melody that I don't like. It feels like flat, at least at the beginning of it. It just sounds off, and it fortunately doesn't stay too long. But I don't know, something bothers me about it.
it's yeah. I mean, what I tend to like about songs on this album, I guess, are just his lyrics. He's got that childish type of voice at the
Yeah,
beginning. Like I really like this song, but it's I you can tell that it's his voice being run through a child, like a filter to make him sound kind of like a child,
right,
and the way he's talking about it. So I don't want to say youthful, but it's like his lyrics at the beginning almost sound somewhat like he wrote them, like a child wrote them, which it seems like Igor is not like an entirely mentally stable person. But
right.
there's just something about hearing him say in that childish type voice. He's like, "It was August. Oh shit, I don't remember." But like, I don't know. It just makes me think of like a 7-year-old writing the song who's just like
Yeah,
not concerned about writing an actual thing. They're just like literally writing whatever comes to their mind. But
right. Which I mean, that's I think that's a thing that rappers do. I mean, they freestyle, right?
mhm.
But yeah, specifically in the song, he does pitch his voice up, and it sounds like you said, childish in some respect.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, outside of that intro section, I like it. It has kind of like a Jackson 5 feel going on with
Mhm.
it, with like a lot of the vocal layering and stuff, kind of that era of music. But it also has some like modern production stuff built in. That's like there's like an 808 kick in it. It feels, and there's
Yeah.
just like a lot of interesting. It's an interesting mix, I think. And then there's like a key change right before he starts rapping, which again I really don't like his rapping voice.
Mhm.
It's not great. I don't know. There's something about it that bothers me, and that's something that I'm gonna have to think about and reflect and kind of dissect at some point.
Yeah, you got to
But
reflect, man. You have to, because you have to like him, because he's just awesome. No,
I
I mean,
have to like everything.
but it's like, I don't know. I like his voice just because it's unique. It's super deep compared to
Yeah, it is.
other people, But I don't. CeeLo Green. This is complete non sequitur. CeeLo Green did the chorus
Right.
allegedly for this, which
Yeah.
I liked kind of that mix between their voices because I feel
That's
like
true.
Tyler's
It's a good
voice,
contrast.
yeah, like with his being so deep and CeeLo's voice is just like higher and bright. It's just
Yeah.
it's plus I like CeeLo. I
Yeah,
like
who doesn't? Everyone loves CeeLo Green.
well I don't know some people don't because
Everyone does. I refuse to believe otherwise. If
well
they don't like them, then they don't exist.
he kind of said some things one time that made a lot of
Yeah,
people not like him.
fuck them.
But
People say shit all the time. I will
I like his
say,
music. I like his music. There we go.
yeah, we'll say that. That is our definitive stance. We here at Feedback Loop do not condone any actions of any artist that we review
Yeah, we
in
just
their
like their
personal
music.
lives. I mean, we like Kanye, right? Kanye's a total dickhead in real life,
Depends on who
but
you are. Maybe he's
yeah,
like
that's
speaking the
true.
truth.
But we what I'm getting at, I guess, is we separate art from artist,
Hmm.
and we focus more on the art than the artist. But tying it back to the song, um, there is a line that Tyler raps that I thought was interesting, that I actually really like. He has a whole verse kind of building this metaphor of like construction going on. But there's one line in particular that I like. He says, "You started building a bridge and it turned into a fence." And that line just like I don't know, it tied it all together for me. And it's clear that it's like representing his confusion, and that it looked like his interest was trying to make a connection, which is a bridge,
Hmm.
but he ended up shutting him out instead. Which I don't know. I thought that was a very clever line. I mean, I think the whole construction thing was maybe a bit much for the whole verse, that he kind of like dragged on a bit,
Yeah.
but I think that line really tied it together for me.
See, I'm so happy that you said that because that honestly, like, I like the whole construction, the blueprint
Yeah, it's
metaphor.
very clever.
I like it a lot, and I was about to say something about it, but you did, so I don't have to. So
I'm
it's great.
sorry, I stole your
It's
thunder.
no, it's honestly like because it's a perfect metaphor because it ends that way. Like I think
Right.
it's like we had two different blueprints but understood influence. So like you knew you had two different things that you wanted, two different things you were trying to build, and you could influence each other. And with it ending, we're trying to build a bridge into a fence. I don't know. It's just great.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good
great.
visual. It's a good metaphor. I don't know. It ties it all together. I like it a lot,
I'll stop gushing
despite it
about
being
it.
Tyler's voices. But yeah, otherwise lyrically, like you kind of mentioned, to me, I kind of felt that this comes back to the theme of heartbreak, right? But
Hmm.
perhaps with a more wise perception of it, and maybe even acceptance that it's over,
Yeah.
or is it?
Well, because thank you. I mean, thank you is a pretty mature song. Not
Yeah, it's
mature.
the next half of this track.
Yeah, not like mature, like oh, you have to be an adult, but like it's a mature standpoint to take,
Right.
even if there is parts of it that are kind of almost seem bittersweet or like backhanded almost, because
Yeah.
he's saying thank you for the times that we had, thank you for the love, thank you for the good times, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it ends with but I'll never love again. So I,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, thank you for all this, but because of
But
you,
fuck you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. There's in Thank You musically, there's like some fluttering high synths throughout it, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure all of the drums are like gun sounds, or all of the beat is just comprised of like a gun clip reloading and firing, and stuff like that. That I thought was kind of creative.
I'd believe it.
It's
It's
very interesting.
yeah. Which so with him being thank you and saying he can't love this
Yeah.
next song, I don't love you anymore. It's so it's kind of just flipping the script, like or
Yeah.
confirming, I guess, that it's like it's over, or at least he's trying to convince himself that it's over.
Yeah, it's a very slowed down and chill song, I think, compared to the rest of the album being mostly upbeat and happier, or aggressive, I suppose. But I don't know. This one, it didn't really hit home with me. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
fine song, but it didn't really have anything. I didn't have anything to say about it musically. And
Yeah.
then looking at the lyrics and analyzing it a bit more, it makes sense and it kind of gives me something to say, and that it feels like this is the sad acceptance phase of the breakup, and Tyler's just kind of feeling numb and not
Yeah,
really sure where to go. He knows he needs to move on, but he kind of has to collect himself first.
yeah. I definitely think because especially with how the vocals are presented in the chorus when he's saying "I don't love you anymore," it's kind of like a soft yell almost, where it's
Right.
like it sounds like somebody was trying to yell, but it's muted. Oh, like they turned the volume down, and he's
Yeah.
kind of just trying to convince himself, like, "No, I don't love you anymore. It's like it's over. It's done." But
Yeah,
he
it's a
doesn't actually
sample.
want
I
it to be.
think it seemed like a sample to me from like an older, like maybe even a sitcom or some TV show. But yeah, it just sounds like someone screaming maybe in the background. I don't love you anymore.
Yep. But that leads into the final track.
Are we still friends?
Are we still friends?
Yes, we're friends, Joey. This track is groovy as fuck.
Oh
There's a
my
lot of
god, yeah.
really cool like instrumentation on this, and there's a cool like progression throughout the track. I think with the outro being like a super good ending to the album. I noted at this point, as with many songs on the album, the song title pretty much says it all.
Yeah,
What you see is what you get. This track is Tyler not wanting to completely sever ties with his interest and at least remain friends, which is a very common thing in
yeah.
breakups, right?
Well, but given like the the roller coaster of this album, where it's like, okay, well, Igor's like stalking and attempting to murder
Right.
somebody in the first half, and in the second half, it's like this person that he's still pining over is just being a complete dick to him and
Mhm.
leading him on. It's just kind of weird that the end is "Are we still friends?" But I do love
Yeah.
the song. I
I mean, it's kind of
totally,
it's kind of cyclical, right? Like
yeah,
he's having this mania or these feelings that are such a strong feeling that at first it's love and then it kind of fades to like rage of like being manipulated and then kind of being humbled, I guess, or accepting of it, and then kind of maybe going back, maybe he's making the mistake of saying like, hey, are we still friends, are we good, like I know I kind of freaked out on you,
yeah,
but are we good?
yeah. It's I don't know. It's a very very good outro. I
I
like
agree.
it's one of my favorite ending songs for an album that I've heard maybe ever, definitely in a while,
Yeah.
just because of how it wraps it all up. It's extremely funky. Like it's just
Yes.
nice to listen to at the end, where there's kind of been some crazy songs, some mellowed out songs, but
Yeah.
and
kind
also
of kind of brings you back up.
yeah, Jack White apparently. I guess I can't say with any
Allegedly.
confirmation. Allegedly, Jack White played the guitars on this album,
Really?
which
That's
is
interesting.
super cool. I mean, I know he's doing all sorts of stuff,
Yeah, he
but
does. He's all over the fucking place, and he's a cool guy. It
yeah,
seems.
but it's pretty big if true. Like,
Big if true. Yeah. Overall, I like this album musically. It's got a lot of like funky, groovy songs, like we've been kind of talking about, that feel good just to listen to.
yeah,
I think it was a good follow up to Melodrama, like I said, because it's similar in theme,
hmm,
but maybe giving a different perspective on the same subject matter. Um, I do think I enjoy this album better without focusing on the lyrics.
hmm,
That's kind of how I enjoy music in general. But maybe it was just because we came off of Melodrama being a breakup album, and we came to this, which is just another breakup album, kind of.
yeah,
Um, I do want to spend more time with it, and we'll probably throw it on now and then just to kind of groove with it. Because, like I said, I enjoy listening to it. It's fun to just groove with and feel. And there's a lot of it that reminds me of Kid Cudi's first album, with some of the like MGMT songs, even.
yeah,
And then some of them have even like a Childish Gambino feel, kind of like "Awaken My Love" or some other like R&B focused songs of his. And then there's even some Kanye influence, which I love all three of these artists. Right, I love Kid I love Childish Gambino, I love Kanye. So like this album fits for me musically. I still don't think I like Tyler's rapping voice, but
Teach
I like it a lot.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very glad because I feel like I failed you on a few of my recommendations. So
This one did not fail.
I'm glad that I made it up because
I mean, the point isn't to make me love everything or make you love everything. It's just to try new things.
Yeah, but as we've discussed several times,
We're not good at picking the right album.
yeah, and like your first intro to something can be a big factor
It's true.
in whether you like something or just. I mean, I think I can speak for both of us when I say that we're under the belief that like anybody can kind of end up liking just about any genre of music, any type of music, as long
Right.
as you take the right steps to kind of prepare yourself to get there.
Absolutely. And I think this might help me eventually like Tyler the Creator's whole catalog. I don't
Maybe.
think it's going to be soon, but I do
Yeah.
enjoy this album. I like this album a lot, and I'm glad that you've shared it
Well,
with me.
that's good. This was definitely one of my highlights, which is why I put it on our list. It was one of my highlights of because it came out last year.
Yep.
I don't think I listened to it until maybe December of last year. It was late last year whenever I started listening to it, and it was like from the first time I listened to it, I just knew that it was going to be one of my favorite albums. So
Yeah, and I think it's a good one. Like I remember seeing that this album released, and I almost listened to it several times. I just hadn't pulled the trigger on it, so I'm glad we're here and we did it.
yay!
Next week, what are we listening to, Joey?
We are listening to J. Cole, For Your Eyes Only is what we're
Indeed.
listening to. I've heard one song by J. Cole. Jeremy picked this one out, so I'm trusting you, man.
You're gonna love this album. I'm not even gonna hide it. You're gonna love it,
Oh shit!
especially coming off of this album. I think it's interesting in that J. Cole is notorious, perhaps, for having no features on his albums at all.
Well, that's cool.
But musically, this is my favorite, and maybe it's a hot take. I don't know. Levi might have a stronger stance on J. Cole. Levi's who got me into J. Cole, but this album really hits me, and I think it's gonna hit you the same way. So.
Well, we'll see if I agree with you or Levi. But so, with that all being said, if you all are interested in communicating with us, maybe you all want to listen to the music too, or have any questions for us, you can find us online at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Talk to us, whatever. Just like our pictures, like me, please.
like us both.
Yeah, and whenever you finally do decide to listen to the podcast, check us out. YouTube, we're on SoundCloud, we're somehow on Apple Podcasts. Neither of us have Apple products, but we're on there.
Legit.
We're on there, man, and we're also on Google Podcasts, which is less surprising because Google's everywhere. But
Google's everywhere, but we're everywhere now. We're killing it.
But yeah, so check us out anywhere, and I guess we'll until next time, stay in our feedback loop.
Yeah. Bye.